Have you ever noticed how the moment you stopped caring, they suddenly wanted you back? Maybe you were the one always texting first, always making plans, always being there, and they barely noticed you existed. But the second you pulled back, the second you stopped chasing, suddenly they're blowing up your phone at 2 a.m. Suddenly they're asking where you've been. Suddenly you became the prize they can't stop thinking about. I'm going to share something with you today that might completely change how you see relationships. This isn't just theory, this is backed by psychology, and more importantly, it's something I've seen work in real life over and over again. So, if you've ever felt undervalued, taken for granted, or like you're the only one fighting for a relationship, this video is going to be a game changer. Let's start with the brutal truth. When you chase someone, you destroy your own value in their eyes. And here's why. It's all about basic human psychology. We want what we can't have. We value what seems rare, what seems difficult to obtain. Think about it. When someone is always available, always texting you, always saying yes to you, what happens? You start taking them for granted. You know they'll be there tomorrow, so why make an effort today? This isn't because you're a bad person, it's just human nature. I want you to think about a real scenario. Imagine there's someone who betrayed your trust. Maybe they cheated, maybe they lied, maybe they just consistently chose others over you. And what did you do? You probably fought harder. You probably tried to prove your worth. You showed them how much you cared. And what did they do? They pulled away even more. Here's the paradox. The more you chase, the more they run. The more available you are, the less interesting you become. Because when someone knows they have you completely, there's no challenge anymore. There's no mystery, there's no hunt. And humans are wired to pursue what runs away from them. But here's where it gets interesting, and this is what you need to understand before we go further. There's a principle in economics called scarcity, and it applies to relationships just as much as it applies to money, or diamonds, or limited edition sneakers. The scarcer something is, the more valuable it becomes. And once you truly understand this, once this clicks in your mind, you'll never look at relationships the same way again. Now, I want you to think about someone who cheated on you or betrayed you. When they did that, they were basically saying, "You're not valuable enough for me to stay loyal to." They saw you as abundant, always there, always forgiving, always taking them back, so they felt safe to explore other options, because they knew you'd still be there. Think about that for a second. They weren't afraid to lose you, and that's the real problem. But the moment you become scarce, the moment you stop being available, everything shifts. Suddenly, they're doing the math in their head. Wait, where did they go? Why aren't they texting me? Did they move on? Is someone else getting the attention I used to get? And that question, that uncertainty, is the most powerful thing you can create in someone's mind. This is when the panic sets in. This is when they start reaching out. This is when they start remembering all the good things about you. Because now you're scarce. Now you're valuable. Now you're the one that got away. I've seen this play out countless times. The person who was always begging for attention suddenly becomes mysterious. They stop posting about their ex. They stop trying to get their attention. They start living their life, going out, building themselves, focusing on their own growth, and like clockwork, and I mean like clockwork, the ex comes running back. Not because they suddenly realized your worth, not because they had some big emotional awakening, but because they realized they lost access to you. And this brings us to a crucial turning point. So what actually happens when you stop chasing? When you stop being the one who's always there? Let me break it down for you, because this is where the real magic happens. And I mean real magic. First, there's confusion. They're used to you responding within minutes. They're used to you being excited to hear from them. They're used to you making all the effort. So when you stop, their brain literally doesn't know how to process it. Did I do something wrong? Are they mad at me? Are they seeing someone else? That confusion? That's your power. Second, there's ego bruising. Nobody likes to feel rejected or ignored. even if they were the one doing the rejecting in the first place. Even if they cheated on you, even if they treated you like an option, the moment you withdraw your attention, their ego takes a hit. And ego is a powerful motivator, more powerful than most people realize. Third, and this is the big one, curiosity kicks in. Humans are naturally curious creatures. When someone who was always an open book suddenly becomes a mystery, we become obsessed with solving that mystery. What are they doing? Who are they with? Why are they so happy without me? They start checking your social media. They start asking mutual friends about you. They start creating scenarios in their head. And here's what's crucial. This only works if you genuinely stop caring about the outcome. If you're playing games, if you're pulling back just to manipulate them into coming back, they'll sense it. People can feel desperation even through silence. But if you truly shift your focus to yourself, if you genuinely move on with your life, that's when the real power comes. That's when everything changes. Now let me tell you about something that will change everything you know about attraction. This is going to sound harsh, but it's the truth. The moment you stop needing them is the moment they start needing you. Let that sink in for a second. Emotional detachment doesn't mean being cold or heartless. It doesn't mean you shut down or become someone you're not. It means you're no longer emotionally invested in whether they choose you or not. It means your happiness isn't dependent on their validation. It means you're complete with or without them. Let me give you a real example. Think about someone who stayed with a partner who cheated. Maybe you begged them to stay. Maybe you tried to be perfect. Maybe you constantly worried about losing them again. That's emotional attachment. When your emotional state is controlled by someone else's actions. And it's exhausting, it's draining, and it makes you smaller every single day. But emotional detachment? That's when you say, I love myself more than I love the idea of us. I deserve better than wondering if you'll hurt me again. I'm choosing peace over chaos, and you mean it. You're not saying it to manipulate them into staying. You're not playing a game. You're saying it because you genuinely believe you deserve better. And this is when the dynamic completely flips. Because confident people who know their worth are magnetic. They don't chase, they don't beg, they don't play games. They simply exist in their power. And that power, that quiet, unshakable confidence, is attractive. When you're emotionally detached, you stop reacting to their breadcrumbs. You stop jumping when they text you after weeks of silence. You stop accepting the bare minimum. And that's when they realize, maybe for the first time, that they might actually lose you for good. Not maybe, they will lose you. But how do you know if it's actually working? Well, let me tell you exactly what happens when the tables turn. These are the signs that they've gone from taking you for granted to actually valuing you. Pay close attention because these signs matter. First sign, they initiate contact. And I'm not talking about a casual hey at midnight. I'm talking about actual effort. Good morning texts, asking about your day, making plans to see you. They're no longer waiting for you to do all the work. And trust me, you'll feel the difference immediately. Second sign, they get jealous or curious about your life. Suddenly they're asking who you're hanging out with. They're noticing when you post photos. They're trying to figure out if you're seeing someone else. This is their fear of loss kicking in. And fear of loss is one of the most powerful forces in human psychology. Third sign, they bring up the past. Remember when we used to, or I miss how we were. This is them trying to remind you of the good times, trying to reignite that connection. They're feeling nostalgic because they're starting to realize what they had, what they threw away. Fourth sign, they apologize or acknowledge their mistakes. If someone who cheated on you or treated you poorly suddenly starts apologizing, it's because they're realizing they might have lost you.
People don't apologize when they think you'll stick around anyway. They apologize when they're afraid you won't. Fifth sign. They make real effort to change. Not promises, actual action. They're showing up differently. They're being consistent. They're proving through behavior, not just words, that they don't want to lose you. And that difference between words and actions is everything. But here's the critical question you need to ask yourself.
Now, this is the part where we need to get real. Because yes, stopping the chase can make someone come back, but here's what nobody tells you. Just because they come back doesn't mean you should take them back. If someone cheated on you, if someone consistently chose others over you, if someone made you feel like you were never enough, why would you want them back just because they suddenly realized you're valuable? Here's the hard truth. Some people only want you when they can't have you. Once they have you back, once they feel secure again, the old patterns return. They'll take you for granted again. They'll stop trying again. Because the chase is what they wanted, not you. So how do you know when to walk away? Ask yourself these questions. Are they coming back because they genuinely love and value you? Or because their ego can't handle you moving on? Are they showing real change, or just saying what you want to hear? Do you feel peace with them, or are you constantly anxious and wondering when they'll hurt you again? If the answer to any of these questions makes you uncomfortable, that's your intuition telling you something. Listen to it. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stay gone, not because you're trying to make them chase you, not because you're playing a game, but because you genuinely deserve better. Because you've built a life without them that actually makes you happy. Because you've realized that being alone is better than being with someone who makes you feel alone. Look, I get it. It's tempting to want someone back when they finally start giving you the attention you always wanted. It feels like validation. It feels like winning. But the real win? The real win is knowing your worth so deeply that you don't need their validation anymore. The real win is building a life so fulfilling that whether they chase you or not becomes irrelevant. The real win is becoming the kind of person who doesn't have to play games because you're genuinely happy with or without them. So yes, the moment you stop chasing, they might obsess. They might come running back. They might finally see your value. But by that time, you might have already realized something more important, that you don't need them to see your value. You already know it yourself. And that's when you've truly won. If this video resonated with you, make sure to like and subscribe. Drop a comment below telling me your story. Have you ever stopped chasing someone and had them come back? What happened? I read every single comment. Remember, you're not on this earth to chase anyone. You're here to live your best life. And the right people will recognize your value without you having to convince them. I'll see you in the next one.